interesting that we say some pretty ridiculous things, and nobody stops to think, gee, that's actually quite funny. And then the other day, I came to the conclusion that maybe nobody notices these things because they're all out of their minds. Which brings up the first thing. How can somebody be out of their mind? How does one get out of one's mind? Do they just step out? I'm really not sure. I mean, one's mind seems rather like a high-security penitentiary to me. You know, kind of hard to get out of. And then there are all those people who are not out of their minds, but not in their right minds. And I can never figure out if this means as opposed to their left mind or in their wrong mind. But anyway, back to the point. The more important question here is how does one get back into their mind once they are out of it or in the wrong one? Do they knock on the front door? Or do they use the key under the welcome mat? Or do they just jump back in? And if they do just jump back in, then I wonder, do they leave a hole? And if they do leave a hole, then this must be why people are so dumb, because they are constantly putting holes in their minds, jumping in and out of them like that all the time. And then the thought occurred to me, what happens to a person who's out of their mind if they lose their voice? Do they go looking for it? It's not under the printer, and it's not under my seat in the car, and I couldn't find it with my socks. Hey, Ma, have you seen my voice lying around? No, honey, it's probably wherever you left it. Well, of course it's wherever I left it. Where else would it be? Where I didn't leave it? And have you noticed that this is the response mothers always give when they don't want to admit they aren't actually doing their jobs, keeping track of all of your stuff? Anyway, doesn't it puzzle you that people who lose their voices always seem to have them back the next day without finding them? It's just poof, and they can talk again. And wasn't life so much better when you didn't have to listen to them? At this point, this guy is so distraught about being out of his mind and not being able to find his voice, he might just become a serial killer. And that's another very suspect phrase. I mean, who wants to go around eliminating cornflakes and Fruit Loops for their entire life? But anyway, let's assume that he does become a serial killer. My next question is, well, what method would this guy use in his war with crunch berries? Some serial killers like to grind them up with their molars. Others like to mash them into the bottom of their bowls with the backs of their spoons. And the most preferred method by our society's finest serial killers is drowning them in the milk. Can't you see it now? A serial killer who's out of his mind and can't find his voice. So the next thing our good serial killer might do would be to ask for advice from one of his friends on one of the internet's many instant messaging service providers. Choosing which instant messaging service provider to sign on to proves to be a rather challenging task because, don't forget, he is out of his mind, which seems to make the decision-making process a little bit difficult. He's unable to decide between Yahoo Messenger, Google Chat, iChat, Facebook Chat, Skype, and MSN Messenger. So he just decides to sign into all of them. Now that he's online, he does find a friend who might be willing to help him. Unfortunately, he can't just come out and ask for help, because that would be violating one of instant messaging's most sacred codes of conduct. Before the real and important conversation can begin, the following exchange must ensue. Hey, what's up? Not much. How about you? Same. Now our serial killer can have his money. And he does ask his friend for help. Unfortunately, his friend is only able to respond with the following letters. LOL, shortly followed by GTG, and he then promptly signed off. Just shows you what a good friend he is. Anyway, later that night, when our good serial killer has gotten home, he might decide that he left his voice on his desk in the office and will just pick it up in the morning, no harm done. Unfortunately, this is when some smart guy will probably chime in and ask, hey, you know what happens when you assume? You make an ass out of you and me. But I'll step up and defend our serial killer who's out of his mind, can't find his voice, and decided to Yahoo Messenger, Google Chat, iChat, Facebook Chat, Skype, and MSN Messenger. Because when you assume, you really don't make an ass out of me. You only make an ass out of yourself. And you can make an ass out of yourself all day long. I really don't care. So now we're left with a serial killer who's out of his mind, can't find his voice, decided to do Yahoo Messenger, Google Chat, iChat, Facebook Chat, Skype, and MSN Messenger, and now has made an ass out of himself. Thank you.
Dan's got a career.